Other interesting cultural news, you have Just Stop Oil terrorists attempt to destroy a gorgeous painting made by Rokeby Venus in 1651. Now, these people, known as eco-terrorists, this is specifically one that's called Just Stop Oil, which, again, the average person in that club, gang, terrorist organization, whatever you want to call it, has a mental capacity of about 18 brain cells. They are mentally, morally, and pretty much in every way of the sense vacuous, thriving on ways to disrupt classic works of art, destroy works of art, disrupt your day by foolishly gluing their hands to the pavement, and all while being so hypocritical, wearing a myriad of clothing and having technologies on their person which are directly correlated benefits of the oil industry in and of themselves. So mentally, morally vacuous, hypocritical. There's many reasons to be amused by these. It's a nice way of these morons. No, morons is too innocent of a term. Someone could be a nice moron. These morally duplicitous, these evil perpetrators. Let me know in the comments. What's a good word to describe these eco-terrorists? Now, this comes thanks to Twitter, and this specifically is from a Twitter handle by the name of And Wokeness, which I'd say A+ for marketing, since they have a profile picture that directly correlates to that, where they have, I forget the cartoon, but you see it everywhere in the meme community, where it's a cartoon of a gentleman with a beard and a short haircut. Pretty good style. I approve. And it says, I support the forever things. Kind of squint there a little bit there, but I got it out. Now, this particular Twitter handle said, quote, breaking, climate cult strikes again. Just Stop Oil lunatics took hammers and attacked Rokeby Venus painted in 1651, estimated to be worth $90 million in the London National Gallery. Now, perhaps this gentleman is just the most whipped person in the world, since it is a couple. Now, they also have the fashion sense of nothing, because of course they didn't suit up as every man always should. He's wearing a t-shirt and jeans. No class. Which is what you can expect for someone trying to destroy a beautiful work of art. Now, this got 21.6 million views. And of course, there's a little bit of a video here. And it's disappointing because the security, just like the security in London, and unfortunately more and more parts of America, is a joke. It's basically non-existent. So, again, if you have suggestions for production software for picture-in-picture, I would greatly appreciate it. I've entertained a couple, but still have some issues with the camera actually syncing with the technology. Maybe I just need to get a new, different camera. But let me know in the comments, because I do want to improve the show, and your feedback is how we do that together. And it is much appreciated. So without further ado, we can at least hear these mentally, morally vacuous cult members. I think that gentleman in the original post had the right idea. So thank God there's like thick bulletproof glass on top of the painting, but it's still making some deep chips in there. And again, there's no such thing as bulletproof, bullet resistant, because again, with the right bullet, you can get through darn near anything. Thank God for depleted uranium rounds.
Women did not get the vote by voting. It is time for deeds and not words. It is time to just stop oil.
Politics is failing us. Politics failed women in 1914. If millions will die due to new oil and gas licensing, millions! If we love history, if we love art, and if we love our families, we must just stop oil.
Mentally vacuous, to say the least. Someone who's never read a history book, which again, we shouldn't be surprised, because public schools are at all-time low for every metric, in the United States at least. And again, he says, politics failed women. Women didn't get the right to vote by voting. Yes, women's suffrage was passed because of men. There's also, back in the day, you actually had to contribute to do certain things to actually be eligible to vote. It is more of a conscription to service as well, in some regard. But they don't have to deal with the draft. They say women got the right to... No, politics worked because they voted and women got the right to vote. So again, they don't know that part of history. Granted, I'm not surprised. They also say millions of people will die. Oil is terrible. It's destroying everyone's lives. They're wearing clothes, shoes, a hat. Ironically enough, I'm pretty sure the hammer they're using has a plastic handle, which is another oil byproduct. Which, again, is hilarious when you see some of these activists go to the Congress and go to these hearings where they say, oh yeah, we need to destroy the oil. And then, thankfully, there's a couple politicians with a modicum of intelligence. I know, I was shocked when I saw this as well. But they rightly point out, oh yeah, what kind of phone do you have? That uses oil byproducts. Yeah, I see you have a plastic phone case. What's more oil byproducts? What kind of glasses do you have? What kind of lenses do you have? What kind of frames are on your glasses? What kind of scrunchie do you have? Oh, that's a plastic oil scrunchie. What kind of vehicle do you have? Even a Tesla has countless plastic components which are byproducts of oil. And again, if you were to turn off the oil tomorrow, millions of people would die. One of those famous examples is folks who are negatively affected and they're diabetic. The insulin has to be in a refrigerated unit. And overwhelmingly, people get their electricity from fossil fuels. It is, at this time, one of the most efficient forms of energy on the planet. The only thing you could argue would be better would be nuclear, which is incredibly efficient and clean. But, interestingly enough, no one wants to embrace that darn near magical technology, which very well could revolutionize the whole, well, it would revolutionize the whole energy industry if you were to embrace that and actually expand it exponentially. Because again, it is much, a lot of people blame The Simpsons for making it look so dangerous and inept. But it's one of those instances where it's pretty darn clean, and one could argue one of the byproducts are recyclable. Because again, depleted uranium, which is when the uranium cores or the fuel rods rather are spent or depleted, well, depleted uranium is one of the most dense substances on the planet, which is perfect for the military application of tank busters. I say military application, probably civilian application as well, but nevertheless, tank busters are one of the best ways to bust a tank because of the depleted uranium core, which should punch through most modern armor. Now, let's go to the comments section and let me know, in terms of the security, it's such a joke, which, again, the United States, every time we see any of these incidents happen, especially when it comes to museums, where you have works of art, which we can never replace. It's one of those things where I think most modern art is crap. If you just throw paint at a wall and call it art, I think it's crap. But I don't think you should destroy it. I think it's just ridiculous. I don't think it takes any talent to do that. But you should never destroy it. Just like you should never destroy statues regardless of what they are. Because they're a piece of time and a piece of history. And history repeats itself, especially fools who forget history. Which is why you should respect history and learn from it. And in these instances, they're going to these museums and destroying some of the most beautiful pieces of art. It's almost as if modern society has a war against beauty, which, if you see most commercials on TV, where they actually glorify morbidly obese people, yeah, it kind of all falls together, or so it seems, unfortunately. Now, this could be very easily solved. You know how? Especially in the United States, we have a lot of veterans who need jobs. You know what would be a great way to stop all this from happening? It's hard to be a Marine with a rifle. Put a Marine and a rifle in front of every museum, put it inside of the rooms. And if they touch that painting, let them know there's no warning shots. Again, I do not ever want to suggest violence is the answer. I would never do that on YouTube. I'm simply saying works of art should be protected. And you can certainly have a warning sign as soon as you enter the museum as part of perhaps your terms and conditions saying, hey, this is a place where if you screw around, you will find out. Let me know in the comments, how would you fix this issue where these pieces of art are being attacked more and more and more, and museums seem to have no security? It's laughable. I would have thought this was in France, but this is actually in England, interestingly enough. Now, again, that got 21.6 million views. Now, going to the comments section, someone has a meme saying, they're lawyers. You attacked what? And it's a picture compilation of Steve Harvey drinking a copious amount of alcohol and falling down. It got 10,000 likes. Mr. Jomar says, quote, the only reason he did this was to get his hand held for the very first time, unquote. It got 7,800 likes, which I can't help but think is true. This is one of those things where a male activist for climate concern, especially the Just Stop Oil, I can't help, and based on his body composition, he's certainly not an alpha male, to be sure. I don't think he's ever lifted anything more than perhaps his iPhone 15. Let's just say someone does not hit the gym. And he, pathetically, after he made that statement, put his hand out, almost as if begging for attention. And interestingly enough, she did hold his hand. Again, society needs to be fixed in many ways. Scrolling down to the comments, you have someone by the name of Taylor McCogan saying, quote, "These art galleries agree with this, or they would have checked the bags at the door and flagged anyone with colored hair. It's an easy, solvable problem that is encouraged," unquote, getting 3,000 likes. Which, again, good point. Why don't they have the back check? These museums know people are bringing in paint and other substances to throw on the paintings. Why wouldn't you check their bags for that? In this case, they had hammers. Which, hilariously and ironically enough, it looks like it does have a polymer plastic handle, which, again, they're supporting the oil industry by buying that because it's an oil byproduct. But yes, let's see here. These people are certainly morally, mentally vacuous, but let's keep going. Someone by the name of Deep Blue Crypto says, quote, "Do something positive for the environment instead of destroying history." And he did a clip in which he shows Anton Moses, a 23-year-old tree planter in Quebec, Canada, set a world record by planting 23,060 trees in 24 hours. Which, again, yes, that's not controversial. That's something everyone can agree with. Trees are great. Trees make paper as well as many other products, and they're good for the environment. That, again, there are some conspiracy theories saying that perhaps these oil terrorists are being funded by big oil or oil companies, because it makes them look mentally moronic. It makes it so you don't want to support the cause that they're trying to portray. And again, how many people are they winning over? Don't get me wrong, there are people on the far left who love this, just as are there people on the far right who like violence as well. But it's one of those things where it doesn't, I can't imagine the number of people you gain from these activities is much. If you look throughout history, most of the rights gained, most of the political gains, they come from peaceful protest. They come from going out there campaigning your ideals, getting petitions signed. I mean, once it gets violence, the support drops like a rock. Or in the case of BLM, like a brick. When that organization became violent, you saw public support just drop dramatically. When you had the peaceful protests, because there was a time period when that was a thing, public support was pretty high. But as soon as it got violent, it just dropped like a brick. So I can't help but wonder if this is intentional. Someone by the name of the Lectern guy says, quote, "Weak men trying to get laid is how we got here," unquote. And it shows this, again, what's a nice way of saying, is there a nice way of saying beta male or weak male? This Just Stop Oil boy putting his hand out, waiting for the girl to hold it. That got 9,700 likes out of 500,000 views. Someone by the name of CPL Canuck, definitely Canadian, they have the flag in their bio. Nevertheless, this person says, quote, "They should have been arrested and dropped off in an island somewhere where they can live life without oil products," unquote, getting 2.2 thousand likes. Which, yes, again, most people on the planet could not survive a day without an oil direct product or a byproduct. I'm trying to think if you can conceivably do that at all, unless you had a log cabin in the middle of the woods. You have to burn wood, which again is actually not as efficient as natural gas being one of the most environmentally friendly fossil fuel. I'm trying to think. If you're a lumberjack in the middle of the woods, you would grow cotton so you could make your own clothing. You would need to have I guess you can use a porcupine needle in terms of the sewing. You wouldn't have to get a metal needle, because in order to manufacture the metal, a lot of CNC machines, a lot of those machines need oil for lubricant. You have the axe, but again, you would ideally, to form the axe blade, it wouldn't be easy. That's all I'm saying. Someone by the name of Salty Cracker, who gets A+ for marketing because their profile picture is of a Salty Cracker caricature cartoon with hands, though not anatomically correct. I have not seen that in the salty snack aisle. So I suspect this is actually a person, not an actual cracker who's come to life. So, little disclaimer there. This Salty Cracker says, quote, "Ugly effers breaking art, beautiful art is the Kami brand," unquote, getting 1.9 thousand likes. And yes, interestingly enough, when it comes to tearing down statues, destroying works of arts, I have not, and if you have evidence, please let me know in the comment section. I'll cover it in an updated video. But you don't see a lot of it on the far right. When you're looking at the far left and far rights, it's something where you're, at least when I'm seeing all these reports, is overwhelmingly more politically sided with the far left. Now let's do a couple more comments. 5 times August says, quote, new rule, whatever they do to the art piece, the public can do to them, unquote, getting 2.3 thousand likes. Melissa Tate says, quote, do these people ever go to prison for this? Brainwashed, unquote, getting 3.5 thousand likes. Which, yes, is part of the issue. These groups of people, these climate terrorists, don't have any negative consequences. And it's not just them. You see this in a myriad of public rioting, public theft. Look at San Francisco. Because they do not prosecute crime, the crime rate has gotten so out of control, every business conceivably has left the city, especially for retail companies. If they're not headquartered there and they just have stores, those stores are leaving. And the companies that are headquartered there, most of them are leaving at an astonishingly high rate. So yes, one of the biggest issues with modern society is there's no negative consequences, depending on your political affiliation, for people. So definitely agree with that statement. Someone by the name of Gene1968 says, quote, they are terrorists, plain and simple, unquote, getting 4.6 thousand likes. Jonas Walter Reich says, quote, is it because it's an oil painting, unquote, getting 400 likes. Now that is what I suspect is the issue that they have a point of contention with which, again, I can't help but think it's just kind of a part of the broader framework of commie and far left ideology, because there are many products, pretty much everything you see these days is an oil byproduct. So they could very well attack a direct oil plant, or more accurately, a refinery, or a product of a company that uses a high percentage products of oil components in it, but they choose to go after beautiful pieces of works of art. And I don't think that's a coincidence. It'll be interesting to see, is there anyone in the comments who support them? Someone by the name of Sally says, quote, we did it, we stopped climate change, unquote. And it literally has a meme in which they have the Top Gear head saying, quote, big oil companies who don't own paintings. Oh no. And then below it says, anyways, he has a picture of a petroleum pump. And I got 788 likes. Someone by the name of Max B says, quote, these people make me want to use more oil, unquote, getting 739 likes. Which, yeah, I was going to say, if I was a billionaire, it would be highly entertaining to drive past them in like a Hummer one, or like a 1900s Rolls Royce or a Bentley. I'm trying to think of what uses what's the most fuel inefficient vehicle on the planet. I remember Robot Chicken had a hilarious sketch where they had a Richie Rich parody where he said he had a hybrid, and it was 1 part monster truck, 1 part Bentley, and got like 3 feet per tank of gas. Which again, it's a cartoon, but let me know in the comments, what's the most fuel inefficient vehicle a consumer can purchase these days? Vintage or new? AKA, it doesn't count if you just say, yeah, have a tank. Well, although that'd be awesome, I might get a tank myself. But nevertheless, let me know in the comments. Do a couple more here. Pajal Shady says, quote, millions will die if we don't stop oil. Actually, billions might die if we stop oil. Oil is the #1 driving force of the world economy, unquote, getting 605 likes. It also have a detrimental negative impact on up-and-coming countries, also known as developing countries. One of the most greatest keys to growing a company, or also in this case growing a country, is cheap fuel, cheap energy. It's the foundation of which a country is built upon. And in true two-faced fashion, a lot of people who benefited from that, the United States had a huge boom. Well, now they want to take away that ability from other developing countries, which again, it would have a tremendous negative impact on those countries. Let's do 1 or 2 more chats here. Someone by the name of Joseph Dinian says, quote, this is envy-based activism. Notice how they didn't attack a bank or oil well, unquote, getting 417 likes. Which, again, I think that's solid and on point. War on the Woke says, quote, they would be better if people if they had a dad, unquote, getting 334 likes. Needless to say, this is as popular as Chris Christie in terms of, well, for him, I've had instances where you can't see one positive responses. And in this case, it's the opposite. It's actually the opposite, Christie. The Trump effect, perhaps. Although even his posts are not 100%. Trying to think of what does have 100% approval rating these days. Candy? I don't know. Actually, no. That wouldn't be good for diabetes. But nonetheless, it looks like every one of these comments is supportive of the original video. Now, let me know in the comments, are you in support of what they did, or do you think it's warranted? If so, why? I mean, they certainly aren't winning any hearts and minds over this, and oil companies don't care. Even if the oil companies, in some instances, own some art, presumably it's insured, so even if it is destroyed, they'll get a payout. So let me know in the comments. It'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of November, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, the comments are a great way to let me know how I can improve the channel and make the show better and better together. I appreciate your input, and especially the harsh critique, because I say that is how you grow the most. Also, and lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your enemies, heck, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight,